All right.
Go ahead.
Like, dude, you're an idiot.
I'm doing very well, Jen. Is it just going to be me and you, or Eli and Zach going to pop in?
Yeah, they'll talk every once in a while.
Every now and then we'll kind
But
of
he was already right away.
It kind of, well, we're used to you attacking us, so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Look at
Let's just put it this way. Who do you see as the quarterback week 1 for the Green Bay Packers?
I see.
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Open Book here on Game On Wisconsin. As you can see this week, it's going to be just me and Jen. Zach is a little bit busy with some other stuff, but I am very excited. Jen, I think this might be our first Open Book with just the two of us.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that same thing. I know Zach and I have done some without you, but I don't think you and I have ever done a show without Zach. At least not when he's like for the whole show. He's popped out before, but this is our first solo show.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good one. Obviously, we're coming off a win, heading into the biggest game so far of the season, with obviously a lot of news surrounding that game. But before we jump into that, well, first off, Jen, how you doing? Obviously, I'm sure everyone by now is well aware of your trip to California, last week's show, Open Book Live, me, you, and Zach. Anyone who hasn't seen that yet, make sure to go to YouTube and check that out. But yeah, Jen, give a quick overview for everyone who missed it, how your trip was.
Yeah, I mean, so fair warning, if you do go watch that show, I'm still really upset about it because the quality was not at all what I prepared for. So thank you to anybody who stuck with us and watched that one. I know it was really tough video and audio, but it was a lot of fun regardless, you know, just for the three of us to be able to do a show together. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait till the next time we get to do it. But as for my trip, yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, I've never traveled by myself. I hardly ever travel anyways. So 2 time zones, a little weird. You know, I was going to bed at like 9:30 because I was not used to it. And I was waking up at like 6:30. So I felt like I was on this amazing sleep schedule for the whole week. And then I got home and I was like, man, really wasn't that great. So I'm a little jet lagged right now. No, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I got to see you, Zach, Jamie, who, if you're on Packers Twitter, you should know who she is. She brought me to the beach and everything, so that was really nice. You know, got to just kind of explore LA, and I stayed in Anaheim, so I kind of explored around there. Spent most of Saturday on Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, I just kind of played tourist for a week, and, you know, I didn't get to, everybody, you know, everybody's got their busy schedules, so it was nice. You know, it's a place where even when I'm not hanging out with you guys, I was still able to preoccupy myself. And yeah, I definitely missed a lot. So I will have to come back. It was a lot of fun. So it wasn't so horrible that I refused to come back. No, I definitely miss it. I mean, I came home and there's like a 40-degree difference between California and Minnesota. I am kind of acclimating myself, my allergies. I have to kind of experience my seasonal allergies right now. So if I start sneezing, I'm sorry. My eyes are super watery. I told Eli I took some allergy medicine before the show. So if I start to get really...
Yeah, so it's before the show.
We're basically down a co-host and a half right now, just because I'm so, you know, between my jet lag and my allergies and the medication, it is what it is. But yeah, today was my first day back at work, and I mean, everybody's like, welcome back to reality, and I'm like, thanks, I hate it, I want to go back.
Thanks, I hate it.
And it's such an odd week too, because I flew back home Monday, didn't go into work Tuesday just to kind of have that extra day, going into work Wednesday, and then a Packer game on Thursday. My week, I just am so discombobulated. I don't even know what day it is, and then having to go into work Friday, I don't know, it's going to be a really odd week. I just feel like my schedule is so out of whack, but I mean, it was worth it. I had a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, look, I mean, your schedule, I think you'll need this weekend to just kind of reset your entire schedule. But, oh no.
Pull up that comment.
Yeah.
I have a story.
Yeah, there was blue cheese.
There was blue cheese. So Jamie, Eli, and I all went to 33 Taps. Shout out to them to watch the Packers game. A
33
lot of
Taps.
fun.
Check it out.
And we went to Hard Rock Cafe on Hollywood Boulevard for lunch afterwards. And Eli witnessed me in person order a side of blue cheese, went to the bathroom to wash my hands, and I come back and he's roasting me in our group chat with Zach about how I'm going to like take it as a shot and stuff. And it was normal blue cheese, but it wasn't enough. And I definitely needed 2 sides, but I didn't want to get made fun of even more.
Yeah, she needed more shots of blue cheese. And it was nice, though, to see like the legend in person of the blue cheese. If only we had the gargantuan tub of mayonnaise, it would have just been the perfect.
I know, we didn't go anywhere where I needed mayonnaise. I didn't like order a sandwich or anything anywhere, but if we would have gone to Subway or something, you would have seen me put mayo on my sub.
All right, well, it's a good thing that didn't happen because that would have made me nauseous. But let's talk about that experience at 33 Taps and the game we watched while we were there. Number one, awesome bar. First time I've been there, obviously first time Jen's been there. I plan on returning. Anyone who's in the California area, if you're traveling out here, want to find a Packers bar, highly recommend it. And yeah, the Packers played a good Washington football team and came out with a pretty convincing win. I mean, it wasn't like on the show, on last week's show, I did predict maybe a bit more of a blowout. I said the Packers, would have maybe their best 4 quarters of the season. And in some ways, I think they did, maybe just didn't translate to a ton of points. But I do think it was one of their most complete performances of the year, winning 24-10. It was really 24-7 most of the game. They hit a late field goal.
But it also could have been, if Heineke doesn't dive a hair early, that game was also very different.
So yeah, let's talk about that for a second because it was hilarious. I mean, when you saw it live, did you just assume he was in, or did you think he might have gone down early?
I assumed he was in, but I can understand kind of why he went down as early as he did because it kind of looked like, I don't know if it was Amos kind of in his peripheral, so it was Savage. Okay, I knew it was one of the safeties, but I mean, when they're in your peripheral and you're just trying to get in, I mean, maybe that's just less body awareness. I mean, Heineke, it's not like he's one of the superstar quarterbacks in this league, but I don't know, I really do want to give a lot of props to him. I mean, grew up a Brett Favre fan, wears number 4 because of him. So obviously he came to ball out at Lambeau. That was a really unfortunate mistake that happened for him. Yeah. But I mean, he got the Lambeau leap, didn't get the touchdown. So it's worth,
yeah,
I mean, it's a soul for a soul kind of thing. So, I mean, I know a lot of people were really mad about that, but I know I was kind of yelling at you in the bar because you were being a little bit of a dick, but
well, because I was like, you don't Lambeau leap, and then yes, you did explain him.
I did explain, he kind of got the free pass from me simply because he grew up that Brett Favre Packers fan. So I mean, for him, for someone like that, that's the ultimate dream. And if you don't get to play for the team that you love, being able to Lambeau, so he got that free pass from me. Maybe I'm just too nice of a person.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing you missed this week's episode of Pack a Day with me and Dan because Dan was not happy about that.
I kind of saw some comments. Oh, look at there's our dog.
Yes, there he is, the wolf dog animal that Zach is. Zach, we are missing you, of course.
Yes, of course.
You are taking care of business, as they say.
He's always with us in spirit.
Exactly.
We can't get away from him, obviously.
Yeah, we try, but it just doesn't really work. But yeah, so the one thing I would say about that Lambeau leap, though, is that he was fine. He found the one Washington fan, and that's fine. But there was a Packer fan that was there and kind of like celebrating with him, and I thought that was a little bit egregious. It was more just like you shove him out pretty immediately, but
you either push him or you just kind of like don't do anything,
Yeah, but you definitely don't. You definitely don't cheer him on. But look, it didn't end up being a touchdown because
maybe he knew. Maybe he was like, it's not a touchdown, so we're celebrating it not being a touchdown.
Yeah, it was honestly. I mean, I feel like it was.
But that could have been a game changer, though. The momentum swing. So I think that Packers really got lucky with that one, and because they did actually have red zone stops on defense, but
that's what I was about to
kind of kind of one of those lucky ones there.
Yeah, but I mean, still, even yes, there was some luck there, but 3 red zone stops They gave up 0 touchdowns in the red zone. The only touchdown was that deep ball to McLaurin. And after giving up, I believe it was 16 consecutive touchdowns in the red zone.
Too many to count.
Yeah. So to have 3 consecutive stops is very big. And look, even if that means there's some luck in there, there's always going to be some amount of luck when it comes to these kind of things. And I'm just happy that they got past it. I feel like it was kind of hanging over them, the red zone.
Right. They had 4 consecutive. It started with that blocked field goal too.
Yeah.
But then they turned around and blocked Mason Crosby. I've seen that coming for weeks. But that one was a weird one because, we've been talking about that right side of the line. So, but it was right up the middle. So it was just a really low kick. And I don't know, that game was an enigma. It was just really weird. So much odd things happening, but so many odd things happening.
Yeah, us having a blocked field goal. I'm trying to remember.
Back-to-back. Those were back-to-back drives, right? Where we blocked theirs and then they blocked ours. I don't know. It was like you don't really see blocked field goals too often. So to see them back-to-back from each team, it was just kind of like early on, you're like, oh no, it's going to be one of those kinds of games.
Yeah, but I'm happy that overall our special teams, was solid. And I think overall on offense and defense, they were for sure defensively very solid. And on offense, just starting the game and seeing what we saw last year, which was opening drive touchdowns, which last year, I think 13 of 16 games, we scored a touchdown on the opening drive or for sure points on the opening drive, which is insane by itself. This year has not so much been the case. And it was just nice to see them start fast. And that throw from Rodgers to Adams on the first touchdown, who
leaves Adams that open? Even if you think Rodgers is looking a different way or moving a different way, it doesn't matter. He has such phenomenal body control where if he sees a guy, he's going to find a way, and he's just magical that way. So you can't ever leave Devontae open. You can't assume that Rodgers isn't going to see him or any receiver for that matter. He's going to find a way to make those plays. And if you leave Devontae open for even a hair, it's, it's dangerous. So I thought that was just a beautiful play. So I don't know. It was a good way to get things started for sure.
Yeah, it really was. It was a great play. And the throw from Rodgers, I'm not going to get over that anytime soon. Just on the run. And he didn't even obviously
he made it look so easy though. It looked
he really made it look
simple.
Effortless. Yeah, it was awesome. But before we continue to discuss this game and obviously the Cardinals game and all the news surrounding the Packers right now, we do have to thank Artec Ventures. This show, Open Book, as it has been every week, is brought to you by Artec Ventures. The goal at Artec Ventures is to collaborate closely with founders throughout all of the investment and fundraising stages, turning their visions into successful companies. Since 2020, Artec Ventures has helped turn great ideas into profitable businesses that make an impact on industries, communities, and beyond. So thank you to Artec Ventures for sponsoring the show, as they've done all year. And getting back to the Washington game, I would say, we did cover the red zone defense a bit, but the one kind of thing that I took maybe negatively from that game was just the run game for the Packers was essentially non-existent. Aaron Rodgers was second on the team in rush yards with, I think, 16, and Aaron Jones led the team with 19. So really not their most efficient running day. It seemed like it was pretty planned, though. A lot of times in the Matt LaFleur era, if the run game disappears, it's either they've fallen down by a ton or they just kind of abandoned it. But it seemed like in this game, it was kind of like that was their game plan going in. Like we could beat them with the pass, but we're not going to do that well with the run. And overall, it worked, but I didn't love seeing those low numbers for Jones, and obviously Dillon fumbling twice, losing one of them. So I think
it was a weird game. That usually doesn't happen. But Rodgers, I think, did
that we didn't pick up. They fumbled at least twice, maybe 3 times, where we had the chance to pick it up and just missed it. Savage jumping on one.
Savage, I don't think he can really play that ball much better. It's just, unlucky that it slips out his armpit like that. So it was just kind of, he fell on it the way he's supposed to. And what are you laughing at?
Because he froze for a second, and it was just funny face going when it froze. It was a weird game. No, your service is good. It was just for a second, and then to laugh. But like you said, Savage, he jumped on it, and it was literally maybe it was too open. Like his body kind of slid the ball out from under him, and that was strange. And then we had on AJ Dillon's first fumble, it was deep in our own territory. Lucas Patrick jumped on it. It was a very big play because if he doesn't get that, they're starting their drive in the red zone. Could have been a game changer. So shout out to Lucas Patrick for covering up that fumble. But yeah, now let's unless you have any final thoughts on the Washington game, there's obviously some fallout from that we have to discuss.
It was good to see. It felt like, I don't know the exact numbers of who was involved, but it just seemed like with the passing, there were so many more people involved. I mean, Mercedes, it's always nice to see him get involved, but Tunyon actually had a good game, which was nice to see, probably because I dropped him in fantasy, so you're welcome. I should have done that earlier, my bad, but it was National Tight End Day, so he was obviously going to perform. It just kind of felt like a lot of people were getting involved. I think Cobb was involved, Lazard was involved, so it just kind of felt like one of those days where it was like a whole effort from the offense, which I thought was nice to see. Yep, Lambeau LeBeau mentioning EQ. Speaking of EQ, I think we have to talk about that punt that EQ kind of helped secure on that line, because that was beautiful. I really wasn't expecting them to give it to the Packers. I thought they were going to say that it hit the line. So I mean, you can't get much more perfect than that. So I think that it's just kind of one of those things where even having a good punter, there were some moments where we really needed him to just go out there and boot one, and he's been lights out. So, in those moments where you can't get a scoring drive together, to be able to have him help you out and flip a field, it's incredible. So I think that it was a really odd game, but everybody did enough of what they needed to do. And defensively, I think we also just need to point out how important Douglas has been at cornerback, especially in the absence of Jair. And then with Kevin King being hurt, him coming in, obviously kind of just a pickup that we weren't expecting to be as involved as he is right now. But it's going to be really hard to want to put Kevin King over him when he comes back, because he's been so amazing. And I think that, he's kind of solidified himself as cornerback 3 with and cornerback 2 with Jair being hurt. So it's, having him on the field has been a huge help for sure.
Yeah, no, he's been a very solid signing. And I just think the fact that we just, you just talked all about the cornerback room, and we really don't even have to mention Eric Stokes being a clear one as of now with Jair out and just being how good he's been. It's just pretty incredible that he doesn't even really need to be talked about at this point. And we're only 7 games into his career, because he's just been that solid and that consistent. Yes, he was in coverage on the McLaurin touchdown, but it was as tight coverage as you can possibly have. And throughout the rest of the game, we saw how great his coverage has been, and it really always has been. Even if he's given up plays, guys aren't just burning past him. He's not blowing assignments. He's right there. And if he's getting beat, it's usually by a great pass and a really good catch. So Stokes, amazing. Douglas, very good signing. But obviously, we're all hoping to see Jair back as soon as possible. And we may have Kevin King back as soon as tomorrow night. We'll see about that.
Yep.
But
Jair not in a sling, so that's always good.
Yeah, Jair not in a sling. That is a great sign.
I saw Lambeau LeBeau had a question. So nobody actually mentioned my accent. I think that LA is just like where I was. It's probably one of those places that there's so many people who aren't from the area. They're probably just used to it. I mean, nobody really cared about me or where I was from. So
have made some comments about my Chicago accent, but I don't know. I guess.
I mean, I really didn't talk to like a whole lot of people. I mean, they asked where I was from, and I'm like, oh, I'm from Minnesota, and they're like, cool. I mean, they're like, oh, we had somebody else from Minnesota, and
Minnesota. I mean, no, because the way you say Minnesota is right off the bat a little bit of a tip to the accent.
But I mean, it's not like I was out there mingling with. I mean, I just kind of did my own thing, and people didn't freak out too much. I mean, I don't really notice like the people I talk to. I don't know what a California accent sounds like, so I don't even know if they have one.
Yeah, I've been here for about 2 months, and if there is a Californian accent, I have not picked up on it. But either way,
Zach doesn't. Yeah, Zach is supposed to be doing work, but he's in our comment section instead, because we're more important, and he understands that. So
he knows.
Even though he can't be here, he knows where his priorities are. So
Yeah, we appreciate that.
if he gets in trouble at work, though, we'll vouch for him.
I don't know if I would say the same, but
Oh well, at least one of us would.
Yeah, Jen's got your back, Zach.
I'm a nicer person, though.
That is true. Jen is generally nice, and I'm kind of the worst. But let's talk about some unfortunate news, obviously, with first starting defensive coordinator Joe Barry testing positive for COVID, and him obviously, not being in the facility and will not be coaching tomorrow night. And then the big blow comes the next day. Davante Adams put on the COVID list. And I mean, just what was your initial reaction? Like, where did you see it? How, what was your reaction? Kind of take us through that moment when it happened for you. Because I know for me, it was
for Davante.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was like 30,000 feet up in the air when it happened. I was flying home from LA. So, I go up into the air. Everything is fine. I mean, aside from, unfortunately Joe Barry, but,
we're looking at, Jerry Gray will be calling the plays with Kirk. It's hard. I don't know how to pronounce his last name that well, but Kirk Olivati. It's going to be a bit of a team effort, but Jerry Gray, been a defensive coordinator twice in the NFL, decades of experience coaching. So you never want to switch up your defensive coordinator, obviously, but I'm not too nervous about it. I think Jerry Gray will slide in pretty seamlessly. But yeah, let's get back to you being stuck on a plane when this news broke. I didn't even realize that that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, so my flight left at noon. I don't remember exactly what time. Noon Pacific time. I have to clarify that. It's super weird, but I was in the air by like 10 after, and I get off the plane, it's like everything's fine. And all of a sudden, so, we land, I'm like, woohoo, finally home after 3 hours of flying. And I turn on, turn off my airplane mode so I can start getting notifications. And it's like the first thing I see is a message from my brother in our family chat about Davante. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, I couldn't even believe it. So it was like, I don't know, it was almost like I was a little struck just with the news. I was so caught off guard because it's like, that's not exactly what I was expecting to see after not being able to look at my phone for 3 hours. I was just kind of really shocked almost because it just seemed so unbelievable because it's Davante of all people, somebody who is a game changer. And who you really do need on that offense. So that was really tough to see. I kind of like tried to process it. I'm going through all the news and everything, trying to figure out. So it's like he is vaccinated, but he has to test negative twice. But it's like they wouldn't put him on the list if he was vaccinated and didn't test positive. So it's like all these things. And it's like you start to feel bad and hope that his family is okay. And you start to hope that him and Joe Barry are in good health. And it's just like, it's kind of the first real taste, because I know there were guys last year who got put on the COVID reserve list, but they were never the bigger players. I think AJ Dillon at one point last year, but he was a rookie. So this is kind of the biggest between your defensive coordinator and your like one of your top two offensive players. And it's like, okay, going into, you're gonna go play a 7-0 team on the road on a short week. It's just kind of like, of course, with everything that's happening this year, it's not really surprising, but it is just kind of like it feels like the first real taste of kind of having to battle through that COVID stuff that the Packers are starting to see. And I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, though, it's their health that's most important. So I just hope that everything is okay with them and they're able to come back healthy, and that, I mean, we still don't really know. It's unlikely that Davante plays, but we're not. I mean, we won't know that until tomorrow when he is or isn't there. So it's definitely a blow. But I mean, if they can, they're 6-0 without Davante the last few times they've been out without him, and it's honestly, I can't remember the last time he had a season where he played a full season because he's had those injuries, the turf toe and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just, it's still just an odd feeling just to not have him. But
Davante has played 16 games in a season, but also obviously adding to that list with Joe Barry and Davante is Allen Lazard, who will also, I mean, he's already been ruled out because he
Yeah.
hasn't been vaccinated. So he will not be playing tomorrow night. So we're down Devontae and Lazard, but there is a chance MVS returns for tomorrow night's game, which would be even if Devontae was playing, it'd be a great boost. Without Devontae, a really big boost. So obviously hoping for MVS to return into the lineup. But like you said, they're 6-0 in the last 6 games that Devontae hasn't played. I believe Rodgers has 17 touchdowns, 1 pick, like 125 plus passer rating. No one's going to make the argument, as Rodgers said himself, that they're a better team or better equipped to win a game without Devontae Adams, without the best receiver in the league. But it also doesn't mean that they're totally screwed. We saw them last year go into New Orleans on the road, facing the Saints, who, with Drew Brees, were a top 3 team in the NFL at that point, and they won that game. And the bottom line is, when you have Rodgers, when you have 12 under center, you always have a chance.
Well, and that's the thing. It's more, even with no Devontae, no Allen Lazard, still no word on when Bakhtiari is coming back. It's like, even without so many of these offensive players, it's like I'm still more worried about the defense being able to make stops, because it's like the offense, you just kind of trust that with the pieces that they have, that they're going to be able to put something together. And it's like, it's going to be one of those games, where we kind of showcase, Rodgers does have weapons outside of Devontae, and he's going to be able to utilize those tools. So, I mean, it kind of makes the Cobb offseason signing look a little bit better too, for people who maybe don't care so much about, the feel-good story kind of stuff. So I think that, it's a good chance for Cobb to get more involved, and it's not like it's unfamiliar territory for him. I mean, they'll probably elevate Winfrey off the practice squad, but I don't really know how many snaps he'll take. It could be a chance for Amari Rodgers to kind of step in and get some snaps. Maybe Tunyon gets a little bit more involved. Maybe just like those tight ends in general, they get Dillon and Jones involved in the passing game a lot too. So it's like, it's not like Devontae went down and we had nobody. There's still plenty to work with on this team. So it's still, to me, it's still just a matter of the defense being able to stop the Cardinals offense, because they do have a phenomenal offense, and that's terrifying. But I still think that's going to be kind of the biggest test. And I did also say on the Packer Report TV that with the Packers offense and kind of the adversity, this might be one of those games where people who think that Matt LaFleur only succeeds because of Aaron Rodgers, this could be one of those games where he kind of proves those guys wrong, because I'm really sick of that narrative. So maybe this is the game when he is missing some key players, and if they're still able to pull through, or at least make it a good game, because the Packers are missing an abundance of players. I think this could be one of those games where LaFleur kind of showcases how he is as a coach.
Yeah, no, I agree. I said the same thing on Pack-A-Day, that, this is a huge testament. I mean, for LaFleur, I mean, this is a chance for him to really cement himself amongst the top coaches in the league. Because yes, look, you still have Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and you're always going to have a chance with him. But if we could see him go out there and scheme up, kind of like that, running the
Hopefully,
ball. And
especially with JJ Watt being out.
Yeah, Watt's going to be out. But I think they need to get Aaron Jones very involved in the passing game, similar to the 2019 game versus the Chiefs, where Jones had like 150 receiving yards on 7 or 8 receptions and a receiving touchdown. Should have been 2 receiving touchdowns, honestly. But I think Jones could be lined up at receiver. I mean, it's not going to be most of the time, but a very nice amount of the time, with Dillon in the backfield, have them both out there at the same time, because it's not like you're going to feel that much better lining up Winfrey or Malik Taylor at receiver as opposed to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones can go out there and run a route like a receiver, and we know he could catch the ball.
Right.
So I want to see that. And as Lambeau LeBeau said, Arizona, I would say their strength is much more in the pass rush as opposed to stopping the run. So, they need to get, and I say this almost for any game, and with Rodgers, Adams, for me, it doesn't matter. You always start with the run game, getting Jones going, and Dillon as well. But once they get that run game going, it opens up the play action, it opens up everything else, and it's just why wouldn't you? You have Aaron Jones, in my opinion, for
Right.
sure, a top 5 back in the league, if not better.
And
Why
it's
would you
like
not
with no Devontae, that's the next best offensive player behind him. It goes Rodgers, Devontae, Jones. It's
Yes,
a
exactly.
triple threat on offense. So even with one head missing, you still got 2 more. And I think
Yeah.
that still gives me a lot of confidence. And hey, by the way, I'm Aaron Rodgers, so every catch that Cobb gets is points for me anyways. So
Yeah, that is true. I'm trying to think. I was actually really excited. I mean, I wasn't excited, but I
okay,
mean,
come on now.
huh,
That's
huh.
just mean. There's nothing wrong with blue cheese. Except for people who don't have the exquisite taste to enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could defend you on that one, Jen, but you're gonna have to
You've
fight.
probably never even had it, Eli. I
I
should have just
have.
had you try it.
I've had blue cheese, and shockingly enough, it tasted like mold. I don't know why. Maybe because there's
It
mold in
doesn't taste like mold. That's just your brain telling you that you're eating it, which is
it.
mold. But you
Uh,
can't taste the mold. It's chunks of
you can't.
cheese.
You can taste the mold as long if that's the bar you're setting for the food you're eating. You can taste the mold. I don't think you're in a great spot personally.
Blue
But
cheese is better than ranch.
blue
Just
cheese is better.
putting-
Look, I have number one. I don't need either of those two things. But Jacob, and I don't know why I'm going to put this on the screen, but unbelievable. What an offense.
So when Pete Carroll was so mad that he threw his gum after
Oh.
aggressively chewing it, I immediately thought of you. I thought it was
Yeah.
phenomenal.
It was. I can't even look at Pete Carroll's face on the sidelines. It's just. It's literally like he's just chomping down all day. I don't want to. We're not going to discuss that. It's just no. But
Chewing gum. I should have just. I'm gonna start chewing gum on the show.
yeah,
Blowing
no.
bubbles. And
You will be muted or potentially booted.
I have power now thanks to Jacob. Jacob gave me power here,
I
so
can
I can put
continue
myself
to
back
just-
in the show.
Yes, that is what I've gone by for many years. Middle name Pete Carroll for sure. But yeah, Jen, definitely don't do that, please, ever. But
Too late.
as
The
you
thoughts already
mentioned,
there.
I'm in the same camp as you, kind of, where I think with the offense and Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and overall, like they're gonna do well enough where they get put up some points and they look pretty good. It's really how.
I'm sorry, I
does this
just can't
defense-
ignore this one. Oh my
no,
gosh.
that's disgusting. Well, what do I do? I called.
The
a
thing is
SWAT
that
team
you
in.
would vomit, but your mouth would be duct taped shut. So you.
It would just come out of my nose, probably, maybe my ears.
Oh
That
my
fun. I get
gosh.
this off the screen. I'm getting
No,
like,
I think we should
ate
just keep
dinner
it up
with
there.
my- Oh, I mean,
That's a
even
fantastic
just-
thought. Thank you, Lambo LeBeau, for that.
Yeah,
I needed that
look,
today.
that is a better 2 a.m. hypothetical than some of the other 2 a.m. hypotheticals we've gotten here on the show.
That's
in
the best
past.
one for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the other ones, and but like you said, this is going to be a much bigger challenge, I think, for the Packers defense than it will be for the offense. You're going up against one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Kyler Murray being a mobile quarterback, we know the Packers. Doesn't matter who's on the defense, doesn't matter who the coordinator is. It's been a decade plus where mobile quarterbacks have been a real problem for this defense. You've got DeAndre
I mean, how many
Hopkins.
yards did Heineke run for? And he's no Kyler Murray, so
Yeah, Heineke ran for 95 yards, okay?
I think
So-
Heineke was just playing out of his mind, though. Like I said, he's grew up a Packer fan,
Yeah, no,
playing at
he's-
Lambeau. He was all over the place, on fumbles, and he was playing ridiculously. But I mean, for him to run as much as he did, and then you turn around on a short week and you're going to be playing Kyler Murray, it's like if Heineke's doing that too, makes me really nervous as to what they're going to be doing with Kyler Murray, because running quarterbacks have not been friendly to the Packers for a long time, and I don't know what they're going to do to scheme against that. And it's going to be tough too, no defensive coordinator. So that makes it tough too. When you're down your coach, I don't know, it gives me like that PTSD, and I'm just hoping that they can hold him to enough. Like I expect him to get some breakouts, but if they can
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
contain him to an extent, that's
Yeah.
going to be important. But I
And I
mean,
think
that offense is that what I kind of said this on Packer Report. This offense is like a leveled up version of the Bengals, because the Bengals have a really good receiving core, quarterback, tight end. You know, they have that good duo running back, and that's what the Cardinals are, just, you know, a couple levels higher.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where they played the Bengals offense well, all things considered, but, you know, obviously Murray is a better quarterback. He's a more mobile quarterback. I don't know. There's just a lot that makes me nervous about this, especially when we're missing so many key defensive players. But I mean, you know, Thursday night games can get weird, so you just
Yeah,
never really
they
know
usually
what's
do.
going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I am still expecting a extremely entertaining game, and you know, it would surprise me if the Packers just kind of came flat and just fell on their face. Like I think they
Right.
know, like no Devontae doesn't matter. This is too big of a game,
And
too
it's,
big of a
you know,
moment.
you're going into this game knowing all that. It's not
Yeah.
like one of those things where it happens
Tone goes
in
down.
game and all of a sudden it's one of those things. It's like you're preparing to go into battle with many second stringers. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, both on
and luckily
offense and
this is going to be one of those, I know a lot of people are like, next man up, which I love the next man up mentality, but I would like somebody to give us a break because we were running out of men at this point.
Yeah, exactly. At a
But
certain
it's
point,
gonna
there's no next man. But real
right,
quick,
it's going to be a true test though.
yeah, and I saw you tweeted about this, and it's something I actually spoke with my brother about for a minute. And look, Brandon Cooks tweeted today. I think
Oh, yeah.
the quote, "This
I was like,
is
what did I
this is
tweet?"
bullshit. What a joke!" And he was I assume
I
he
think
was
it was the
Mark Ingram trade.
Ingram. That's what I kind
Yeah.
of heard too.
The Texans trading Mark Ingram to the Saints. And I mean, look, we all know the Houston Texans, they're not a good football team. They don't seem like a good football organization. It just seems like a total mess over there. And like you said, I mean, yeah, and Lambeau LeBeau here. I mean, oh, my bad there. Oh, Andrew. Yeah,
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I see
but,
Andrew laughing backstage at you.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks for $1.5 million, like Lambeau LeBeau said, why not? Why the hell not? And we've obviously done plenty of business with Houston this year. We traded Kadar Holman to them, and then we obviously traded for Randall Cobb. We signed Whitney Merciless coming out of Houston. The relationship is already there between Goody and that front office, and I would be surprised if Goody hasn't already made a call yet. Like, why not? You're missing Devontae right now. Other guys, like, you know, MVS went down. It's kind of been like throwing people in to match the production. But Brandon Cooks, everywhere he's been in his career, regardless of the scheme, the quarterback, the offense, whatever it's been, he has been a very, very good player at every stop along his career. And he's been, even in Houston with Davis Mills at quarterback, he's been incredible. Like he's one of the top receivers in the league. And if they could get him for, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if you could get him easily for a late round pick, 5th or later round pick. Houston has no reason to hold on to him. So why not?
And I've heard things that he's just kind of a good locker room guy too, which, you know, if you can add that kind of talent for that kind of money, who is also not only going to elevate your team on the field, but your team in the locker room. Yeah. I think that's one of those things where you at least want to know that Goody goes out there and makes the effort.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
and it's like, I get it. At some point, all these receivers are going to come back, but if this is our all-in year, go all in. And all the people, this was my tweet specifically that you're referring to, all the people who want OBJ, I don't want OBJ, but to see Brandon Cooks possibly be available, that's somebody who I would want. You know, OBJ is just like the mentality, the playing, a lot of inconsistency with him where it's like he can, money. It's like he can be this phenomenal player, but I just feel like there's more consistency in all. Yes, Jacob, I am team. Always know. There's just something about OBJ that just kind of turns me off when it comes to wanting him on this team. Maybe I don't even have a straight answer for it, but I just, Brandon Cooks just seems like one of those guys who, and, you know, Randall Cobb, so he's played with a receiver that is here with the Packers now. so it'd be maybe an easier transition. But I don't know. There's just something about Brandon Cooks that's extremely likable as a player and as a person. And for 1.5 mil, I don't understand how you don't at least make the call.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, make the call. Just see what you can work out. He is a legitimate. I mean, he comes in. He's your wide receiver too. Look, we were all fans of MVS, and we're seeing his growth kind of. But on a down-to-down basis, you're going to have Davante and Cooks on the outside, with probably Cobb in the slot or whoever you want to put there, but most likely Cobb. But Davante and Cooks on the outside, all of a sudden teams, that's it. You want to go and put all your attention on Davante, you're going to have another Pro Bowl receiver burning you the whole game. I mean, Brandon Cooks is a serious.
Well, and can you imagine like having Davante and Brandon Cooks and MVS and Randall Cobb? It's like,
yeah,
it just opens up so many options. It kind of reminds me, I got like the posters over here with like the perfect pack, and it's like you kind of have to, I mean, it could be such a ridiculous receiving core, and then you add in the tight end group that they have. It's just, I don't know. I want it so bad, which means it's not gonna happen. But this is me getting my hopes up for no reason once again.
Yeah, like last year with the Will Fuller thing, which in the end worked out. Obviously, he ended up getting suspended.
I would rather, but even like if you could have given me Cooks or Fuller, I'd still pick Cooks.
Yeah, I mean, Fuller has dealt with injuries his whole career.
And not just because I have Cooks in fantasy.
No, but Cooks has just been insanely consistent everywhere he's gone. And for receivers especially, to go from one team to another, one quarterback to another, and stay consistent, very rare. You do not see that a lot at all. So, we probably spent a little more time on a hypothetical than we could have. But I think considering how much talk we've had with and business they've done with the Texans, it's maybe more than just talk. Like OBJ, hypothetical, fine, whatever. Cooks, like if they're looking to move him, I don't see why we wouldn't be one of the first teams on the phone, if not the first.
Right.
We've already done plenty of business with them. But let's get back to Thursday night. So right now we're going in with the mindset of no Davante, no Lazard. Let's assume MVS will be in there. But who are you going to look for on offense to really pick up the slack and be, whether it's in the run game or the pass game, but someone that LaFleur and Rodgers will lean on to get them through this game and put up points?
I'm saying Randall Cobb. No Davante. No, I'm kind of leaning with the mindset of no MVS, just kind of preparing for the worst kind of scenario. Yeah. But Randall Cobb is a trusted receiver with Aaron Rodgers, and without Davante, I could see Rodgers wanting to lean on him a little bit more. And, obviously newer to the LaFleur system, maybe they spent the week trying to kind of scheme him in a little bit more. So I think that Randall Cobb, he's one of those guys, and you can trust him to pick up that slack too. This isn't asking much of him. It's just he knows how to go out there and do this. So thank you, Lambeau LeBeau. I can't read and think at the same time, but I think that this is a Randall Cobb game, and I think that this is one of those moments for him to kind of just show some vintage Randall Cobb and Aaron Rodgers connection. And I think that I do think Aaron Jones is going to be kind of heavily relied on, but when it comes to the passing game, I'm at least hoping to see a lot of Randall Cobb. And I think that just the pass with Aaron Rodgers and with Davante out, that's obviously one guy that Rodgers knows he can lean on and knows he can trust to basically get any ball thrown his way. Yeah. And Randall Cobb, for a long, long time, and even still, is one of those guys, Aaron Rodgers. So I don't see why he wouldn't be more involved without, your top two receivers going into, top two that were healthy. And now, maybe your top three receivers, not including Randall Cobb. So I think that it's the kind of game that we get to see him more involved, and he gets to kind of have that big game back with the Packers.
Yeah, we kind of got a glimpse of that versus Pittsburgh. It was really more the two touchdowns, wasn't necessarily a ton of receptions and yardage. But yeah, I think this could be a game where we see him catch upwards of 6 balls, maybe get around 100 yards, hopefully get in the end zone. And oh gosh, Ben,
I was gonna throw it up, but
killing me, bro. So yeah, I do like the Cobb call, and for me, I think Tunyon needs to build on last week's performance and, be just a consistent piece of the offense, not just in the red zone, but just getting down the field. And I'm kind of going with a little two-parter because like you kind of said, though, I mean, I think Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon could be deciding factors in this game and just how they run the ball and how they catch the ball. But they need to set the tone, slow down the pass rush because Chandler Jones should be back, of course. Obviously, he missed the last game or two, comes back against us, obviously. So, yeah, Jones and Dillon, they're the ones who need to slow down the Cardinals' pass rush and get things going. And Andrew's going with Amari Rodgers, which I totally hear, and I would love to see it. Look, you drafted him in the 3rd round. I would love to see him get some more targets. I'm sure he will. And, I mean, look, he's for sure going to have to be playing a lot more than we've seen. And if Aaron Rodgers gets any kind of connection with him going now, I think that'll just be great just moving forward.
We've already seen some minuscule flashes. So,
yeah, this could be his real breakout potential performance, maybe to put him on the map as a rookie receiver and really go out there. And look, we've seen Aaron Rodgers play the Cardinals in Arizona with a lot of backup receivers before. We all know how it ended. It didn't end that great, but we know that Rodgers did.
It didn't end at the fault of the offense, though.
Exactly. I mean, Rodgers and the offense, they did what had to be done.
When Jeff Janis is out there catching Hail Marys,
multiple Hail Marys. I mean, Janis, I think that was the drive where he had over 100 yards.
I think Janis got hurt. Janis wouldn't have even been able to come back in because he got hurt.
See, that's the problem. I mean, real quick, just that game, they were going to go for 2 after that Hail Mary, but Janis was hurt, and the play call they had needed a 3rd receiver, and all they had left on the team was James Jones and Jared Abbrederis because Cobb got hurt earlier. They didn't have a 3rd receiver to do the play, and looking back, obviously, hindsight's 2020, they end up losing the game, but just the thought of getting that Hail Mary and then going for 2, getting it and winning would have been pretty life-changing, but obviously that's not what happened. Exactly. But so going into Thursday night, we will see on Devontae's status tomorrow. Obviously, don't get your hopes up. We know Lazard will not be there. We know Joe Barry will not be there, but I'm very confident in Jerry Gray and the rest of the defensive staff. And
especially when you've got Devondre Campbell with the mic in his helmet, when he's got the headset, it's like you're in good hands.
We almost went a whole show without talking about Campbell. I'm happy you brought him up.
This is his former team, correct? So it's kind of one of those Devondre Campbell revenge games. So I mean, with the way he's been playing, and if it's going to be one of those revenge games, it's like if he can elevate his game even more against his former team, that'd be epic.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't even know how he could up his game, considering how incredible it's been. But if he wants to prove us wrong, I'm not going to complain. That's for sure. But before we head out for this week, as always, we got to get a score prediction. So, Jen, what are you thinking heading into this very highly anticipated Thursday night matchup with the undefeated Cardinals?
I'm a homer optimist, so I will always pick the Packers to win. I think that any team is beatable on any given day, and the Cardinals are due for a loss. So this could be one of those weird Thursday games where, Matt LaFleur has a fantastic coaching game and the offense steps up despite losing some key players. Maybe the defense actually kind of just balls out. Maybe they continue the trend of those red zone stops, which would be nice. And I think that it's not like the potential isn't there for this team to win. It's not like we're going in and I'm like, oh man, they're just going to get slaughtered. That is absolutely not what I'm thinking. I think that they still 100% have a chance to be in this game. I think it's going to be really close, but I still am picking the Packers to win this one 27-24.
27. So does that mean we're looking at some Mason Crosby magic to end the game? Or do you not want
potentially? I don't want it to be coming down to a field goal. The stress, I can't do it anymore. I trust Mason with my life. If my life was on the line and he had to kick a field goal, I'd trust him to make it. But I mean, I can't handle it anymore. So if they could but at the same time, then it's like, okay, is it going to be one of the, maybe it's like close at the end and you're just hoping that they hold it. So I think it's just gonna be a stressful game, but I'm really hoping that given everything that is happening, that it's still a lot of fun and it's kind of one of those, if anything, a moral victory kind of game.
Yeah, exactly.
I would approve of that, Jacob. I always approve of a savage win like that.
Yes, I would always like that. And real quick, looks like we've got some news on JJ Watt. And Jen, considering your fandom of JJ Watt, like this, he is undergoing what is likely to be season-ending shoulder surgery. So, look,
I hate that for him.
Yeah, I mean, JJ Watt, I think everyone who's a fan of the Packers knows, obviously, his roots being from Wisconsin and all that.
From small town Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, so you never want to see that. And look, I'm not going to pretend like I'm complaining that he's not playing tomorrow night. I mean, you might complain about it. For me, I'm pretty happy that he's not, but I obviously
I think I tweeted earlier, it's like, I'm bummed. I'm bummed because it's like I do love to watch him play too, and I wish that both teams were healthy and had all their players, because this could really be one of those ball out games for both teams, and it's just kind of
I mean, it would have been nice both teams at 100%, give you a better idea. Truly,
sorry, I was just reading the comment. Like I said, can't think and read.
No, because I mean, look, we all thought JJ Watt was coming to Green Bay, and not that we would be complaining about that.
Been okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. But look, that's part of the risk of JJ Watt.
Tough, man. I'm upset now.
I didn't want to end it off upsetting you, but
I just feel so, there's nothing to hate about JJ Watt except for that he's really good and you hate to play against him. It's just,
exactly.
a player of that ability, the injury bug, it hates him and it keeps going after him for no reason. It's just like, let this man play.
Yeah. Especially
so I mean, it was a bummer that he wasn't going to be able to play in our game, but I want to be able to see him go out there. I mean, he's with a good team. He's obviously helping him out. So, man, now I'm upset. I can't even think now.
Exactly. That was not my intention, but our wonderful producer, Andrew, gave me a little tip to check out someone's Twitter. I'm not going to talk about the source of where it came from. That man's name doesn't need to be mentioned on this show. But so yeah, you had 27-24.
Yeah.
And I mean, see, the problem is like, it wouldn't be crazy to predict the Packers loss here. And I don't know if it's maybe just me.
This is where Zach usually comes in and says that they're going to lose.
But look, I can't sit here and say that I'm as confident as I maybe was versus Washington. Like, obviously I'm not, but I still have a ton of faith in this team. And I think this game could go either way. And I think, like you said, Thursday games could get a bit weird. And I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than people expect. And I'm actually going to go 23-21 Packers. And I am going to say we get another Mason Crosby game winner here in the 2020.
Oh my gosh, knock it off.
It's going to be 21-20. Aaron Rodgers is going to come on the field, drive them into position, and Mason Crosby is going to seal it. But, yeah, everyone.
I do need to throw up this tweet because thank you, Lambo LeBeau. Yes, I'll make sure next week Zach talks less so I can talk more.
Yeah, we would all enjoy that on a weekly basis.
No, Zach is just – he's smart, so just let him talk a lot. But
Zach
I appreciate – getting more talking platform without him being here, but he'll be back next week and then you'll hear much less from me, don't worry.
Yeah, well, we'll see how next week goes, and obviously we'll be recapping tomorrow's game. I mean, it's our first Thursday game of the year, but everyone, thank you for tuning in. And before we head out real quick, make sure to give Jen a follow on Twitter at BigMac_4. You can find Zach, who is not here tonight, but always want to give him a follow on Twitter at It's Zachariah J. And you can find myself at BookofEli_NFL. Make sure to follow.
I was going to say, make sure you subscribe.
Game On Wisconsin at Game On WI on Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube at Game On Wisconsin. All, subscribers, we appreciate all of you, and tuning in, we appreciate it. And yeah, look, it's going to be a wild game tomorrow. Obviously, we're not going to have the full squad, but I'm still confident in the Packers. Go Pack, go everyone, and stay safe. And also wishing the best to Joe Barry, Devontae Adams, And I don't think Alan Lazard ever tested positive, but I'm going to wish him all the best anyway because we love you, Alan Lazard. And we will see you next week, hopefully at 7-1 and at the top of the entire NFC. We will see you. Go Pack. Yeah, no, that was a bad idea.
What you think, Fred? All right.
Fred.
Like, dude, you're an idiot.
I'm doing very well, Jen. It's just gonna be me and you, or Eli and Zach gonna pop in.
Yeah, they'll talk every once in a while.
Every now and then we'll kind of
He was already
happened-
right away.
It kind of, well, we're used to you attacking us, so.
Yeah. that is-
Sorry.
Look at
Let's just put it this way. Who do you see as the quarterback week 1 for the Green Bay Packers?
I see.